Hello, ETF fans. Mike here with another video insight. Today, I'm going to dive into something I think is really fun about our platform. I'm going to talk about doing stock research through the lens of ETFs. So, we always talk about what ETF's the best to invest in, what theme do I want to invest in via an ETF. But sometimes you just want to find the companies involved with these themes or involved with this particular factor or a different strategy, really to identify what companies are driving that area of the market and potentially do some individual stock selections. So, I'm going to walk you through three different ways to use ETF Action's platform to do stock research through the lens of ETFs. To get started, going to hop into the member access side of the platform. Once I'm in here, we're going to start with the easiest and simplest way. Let's say there's a particular ETF that's caught your eye and you're really interested in checking it out. So I went into our ETF database here, but let's do this a little differently. Let's start with our dashboards. Let's go down to thematic and let's go into disruptive tech. It's been a big year for disruptive tech. If we slide over here to flows, we can see year to date, disruptive tech has brought in $18.7 billion. And not surprisingly, the AI and big data specifically within that arena has been the hottest segment at 12 billion 813 million year to date in inflows. So from there, let's say there's a particular ETF that you're really interested in. You like the way they design it. Just for purposes of today, let's look at Global X Artificial Intelligence Technology ETF AIQ. I'm going to click on that link. It's going to open up the research frame all about AIQ. And there's all kinds of information here. I have direct links into Global X's website, AUM, flows, distributions, composition, fundamentals, technicals, you name it, you can find it here in these research frames. But what I want to do today is I want to go into our tools and reports and I want to click on Portfolio Visualizer. So Portfolio Visualizer is going to look through to the underlying companies of every single company held in that ETF as of last night. So it's going to take a second to load this up, and it's loading in all those companies, their weights, all the good information that we license from FactSet of the underlying securities. Give this 1 second. There we go. So it starts by just giving you a heat map of yesterday's returns. This is cool because let's say you hold an ETF or you're tracking an ETF and it has a big day or it's been on a big run and you're like, really, what's driving that? This heat map of returns is going to be a great way to see that. Like yesterday, I can see Palantir was up, it pops out at that up 8.81%. I can switch this and be like, I actually want to see year-to-date returns, right? And we can see kind of what companies have worked, what haven't. That's the visualization side of this. Now, the research, if I close out these heat maps, I can just go straight down to the underlying companies, right? So I can see right now the largest company inside of AIQ is Advanced Micro, followed by Google, Samsung Electronics, you name it. And within this portfolio visualizer, you're going to be able to see all kinds of information at the stocks, just like you could in the ETF database. But now we're looking at the stock levels. Let's just say, hey, I want to take a look at analyst consensus ratings. I could come in here, sort by target price, implied return, and I could see, there's 4 analysts covering quantum computing. And not surprisingly, they've got a, you always have to take analyst ratings with a grain of salt, but their target price, their average target price they put on this company, less the current price, is what drives that implied return, right? So it's target price less current price divided by current price to get you that implied target return, just as you do it at the stock level. We also do this at the ETF level, but you'd be able to go through and read about all these companies and even actually dive into the company itself. So I won't spend any more time on the tool itself, but that's the simplest way to do stock research is, hey, start with an ETF you like, go use the portfolio visualizer and dive into the data. The second way to think about using stock research is our ETF Stock Screener. And this takes what we just did and puts it on drugs. So what this is all of the ETFs that hold individual companies or primarily hold individual companies will pop up in our screener up here in ETF classification. And let's do the same exercise we just did, but let's do it in the sense of all companies held across the whole, every ETF that we classify as AI and big data. And we'll go one step after that. But first things first here, let's just go Set a couple quick filters. I'm going to go composite, thematic, category. I'm going to go disruptive tech. So I can see I'm down to 58 ETFs. And now I'm going to go down over my segment and I'm going to go AI and big data. There's 17 funds currently classified that way. Now, when I hit this load ownership data, it's going to load every single company that's held inside of those 17 ETFs. So collectively, there's 367 total stocks. That's that $19 billion held by ETFs. And there's a number of fields I could go through and set on here. But what I want to focus in on is, okay, we all know the NVIDIAs, the Microsofts, the Apples, but what about if I go down market capitalization? I'm looking for small cap, mid cap names associated with this theme. I'm going to slide over on my data table here. I'm going to look for market cap. I'm going to say it's got to be less than or equal to, oh, let's just pick a random number. Let's call it 7.5 billion. All right, so there's 108 companies that fit that. Now, I want to do research on these companies. So I have 108 companies that I've screened almost instantly using ETFs as a starting point. I click Launch Portfolio Visualizer, and voila, just like I did at the single ETF level, I now have all of those companies that I predefined, starting with an ETF universe, to do research on that I might want to find that are interesting to me. It's a unique way to think about going through and identifying stocks that meet a certain theme. Now you can see there's a lot of foreign companies in here. Well, you may not want to be buying foreign companies in your account just because of trading costs, whatever it may be. I could go back to my stock screener. I could say, you know what, let's put a limit on this and say the exchange code has to be US. So now I know it's going to be trading on a US exchange. I'm down to 77 stocks. Same thing, launch that portfolio visualizer. Super cool way to find companies you may not otherwise know about that are associated with a certain theme through the lens of ETFs. All right, third and final way, and what has kind of prompted me to do this today is we also have what we call our ETFA Illustrative Stock Indexes. And this is where we create indexes based on common ownership across our classification system. And we're always adding. And first thing, note, you got to agree that you're a financial professional to get into this side because these are actual models. But you'll see that we've taken time and effort to identify the largest kind of companies, ETFs associated with certain themes. And then all of these are going to be US based only. So we put screens to say they have to be US companies. And for example, let's just say I want to be like, oh, what is the US listed cybersecurity select 25? This portfolio takes the 5 largest cybersecurity ETFs, looks at all of their companies and says, what is the most commonly held across those 5 ETFs? And provides you an equal weight portfolio of those companies. And then we'll run it like a model. We rebalance it every month or every quarter, I'm sorry. We calculate the returns for you. So you can see this is done extremely well, even relative to the benchmark that we put in there. But it's a way to kind of think about it using ETFs to create or to find companies. And then, of course, if you go to our tools and reports sections, there's going to be this little cool tool called Portfolio Visualizer, which will let you push through to those 25 companies to do additional research, all that good stuff. So, I always say it, ETFs are more than just investment vehicles. They're incredible research vehicles. And one of those ways is to create and to find ideas around stock selection, to do stock research. And we've got a number of tools at ETF Action to make that possible. So if you have any questions, reach out to team at ETF Action. Appreciate watching today's video, and happy hunting out there, folks. Take care.